Happy New Year. For real this time. Thank you for being a part of the program this New Year's Eve. We are hours, if you're catching the replay, minutes away from ringing in the bright new year 2026. Before I go any further, and since 1998 here, I find myself wishing I'd had time or taken, but had mostly the time to sit down, reflect, and put a few thoughts to paper and mind, reflecting on the past year, but on my style and not on my schedule. So with that said, thank you all sincerely for being here. Thank you all for understanding in my absence last week while I was out with Angie, of course, and just for literally supporting this show, local journalism with the Sagersville Independent, and through all of our endeavors here that we work so hard to try to be a part of the community and help serve any way we can. Thank you for your support and your patronage. That goes as well for Independent Signs and Graphics here, and most recently Henry's Hot Dog Company, for which it looks as though it was by design exactly how it turned out, and it wasn't. It was a thought that turned into a process that evolved and turned into what it is. And thank you all for the reception that it has been given, and we are already anxiously looking very forward to when spring and summer most certainly get here. We're not closing during the winter. I think that we have already been shown by all of your support that we're going to be able to trim down on the hours a few times here and there, and maybe on the number of staff, but that we're going to be able to stay open. It looks as though, except for the really bad days when no one's going to get out, period, and dangerously travel, we plan on being able to stay open and doing curbside delivery and service, and maybe even some big call-in orders and delivery to businesses in the downtown area. So keep that in mind, and thank you so much for being a part of that endeavor as well in that venture. I do want to say before I go into tonight's headlines lastly that just as far as the show is concerned, and everyone at the Sagersville Independent and Big Sandy News, and from myself and Tim and everyone, again, just thank you for helping us to get the information out to you to the best of our abilities. And I can say this, and I think I referred to this several months ago before Henry's Hot Dog Company kind of started to turn into what it was, is that we do have some things in the works to help increase our news coverage locally, local sports on many different levels and things of that nature, incorporating some young people into this whole fold, and that's going to be our focus at the start of the new year, which of course is next week. And another new thing or two we're adding as well. So with that, again, thank you. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and listening to me get the news or ramble on a bit, as maybe I just have. Now, in all seriousness, as soon as I come back, a local family lost their home, most everything they had, to a structure fire last night, and there's already an outpouring support and a couple of easy ways you can help support them, and I'll have that full story when we start with our top stories and local news in just a moment.
90s Mixtape Live. Motown Philly's back again. Well, it's love that I need. That thing. Oops, I did it again. Rock your body, yeah. Party now, and I will always love you. Mixtape Live.
Johnson Central High School stands alone in providing the most college and career programs of study in one building throughout the entire state of Kentucky. This includes pathways in everything from the medical field to engineering, telemedia, welding, agriculture, and even aviation. And that's just to name a few of the 32 different choices. Work has also been started on a brand new state-of-the-art high school. So now is the time for your child to experience the power of opportunities in Johnson County School.
For whatever reason, if your working days are over, don't do anything before you meet Grover. Social Security, disability, SSI, work injuries, wear and tear, and hearing loss. 888-9-GROVER. One name, one call, one ultimate solution to your heating and cooling, sales, 24-hour service, and installation for home, commercial, boilers, chillers, and VRF systems. With over 15 years of experience and now based right here in the viewing area, Ultimate Air, 496-6651.
There are several risk factors that may put a patient at risk for heart disease.
Especially people who have diabetes or hypertension or high cholesterol and have a family history of heart disease.
Neglecting to see a cardiologist can put you in trouble. You may develop problems that may not be reversible.
We see many people who do not have an actual diagnosis of a heart problem, but may be at risk of heart disease, and we do whatever we can to help mitigate that risk to help prevent disease in the future. ARH, more for Appalachia.
There was a structure fire last night. It completely destroyed a McGoffin County residence. There were no serious injuries reported. I do believe that there was maybe one person taken to the hospital by a family member after the scene was cleared, or after they cleared the scene at least. But their home was completely destroyed. For one of them battling cancer, this is a very serious situation. And friends and family have already jumped to their aid to try to help them in any way possible. And of course, monetarily is always one of the best, if not the best, ways to do just that. This was the structure fire seen on Craft Creek last night. This was the scene shortly after 10 o'clock or so last night, after the Middle Fork Fire Department and other EMS arrived on the scene, and law enforcement. It was there that they responded after a structure fire was called in at the Craft residence on Craft Creek, the residence of Claude and Shelby Craft and their family. The fire was called in as believed to have started underneath the double-wide home, and I did confirm with Middle Fork Fire Department Chief Anthony Lynch a few moments ago that it did appear as though it had started somewhere in the middle of the home. And the home is pretty much a total loss. The chief tells me they were able to get some of Mr. Craft's medicine out. He is considered to be seriously ill, and maybe a few other personal effects, but largely a total loss, even though at least a portion of the structure was still standing. Extensive fire, smoke, and some water damage, of course, to everything that the family owned. I'm also told that one of the Crafts may as well have sought medical treatment following the scene. With that said, there's already been an outpouring of support. I know that some neighbors to the Crafts, Tony and Amanda Allen of the Farmhouse Diner, were taking up donations earlier today, also donating a portion of their proceeds today to the Craft family in an effort to help. And as well, the family has set up a GoFundMe page, which you see here in their name, which was quickly getting some support earlier today. I checked earlier this morning, and it was at $600 or $700. Then this afternoon at around $4,050. And just before airtime, it already hit about the $5,000 mark, and still hoping for more to be donated. So plenty of ways for anyone to support the Craft family if you are able. As for the exact cause of the fire, that is still yet to be determined. And let me add that just before I sat down, just before 6 o'clock, that amount had already jumped to over $6,000 on their GoFundMe page. So very, very easy way to help if you can or at all. With that said, we've had our first flu death in a young person in the state of Kentucky this season. A child who lived in Kenton County has passed away from the flu virus. The seasonal flu numbers just increasing all across the state of Kentucky, and mostly in young children. The Kentucky Department of Public Health says that ER visits and those people being hospitalized for flu and flu-like illness among children younger than 5 are significantly up from where they were this time last year. And as I've covered here in the program and referred to, at least in part, the number of folks in our circle, and I believe in yours, who are seeing a serious and very potent strain of the flu is certainly increasing, and it's been very hard on everyone who it has impacted. The child who passed away had not received their flu shot. for this year. We have indictments, a number of which returned by the Magoffin County Grand Jury just last week, and also a number of cases which started with indictments which have now come to a conclusion in the Magoffin County court system. We'll focus on those in just a few seconds. Right now, here's tonight's Magoffin Farm Bureau Community Calendar. I have an anniversary wish to start tonight's Magoffin Farm Bureau Community Calendar. A happy 69th wedding anniversary to Jim and Madge Conley from all your family and friends. I said a happy 69th wedding anniversary to Jim and Madge. Congratulations and a happy, happy anniversary. And from there, as we're winding down 2025, oh my goodness, in hours, just one quick reminder that if your garbage collection is normally tomorrow, New Year's Day, it will be Friday. And if it's normally Friday, it will be Saturday, as Rumpke will hopefully get tomorrow off with hopefully everyone else. So that's their New Year's schedule. And then for everyone, it's back to our regular schedule for everything, starting off, well, next week. With that said, when you have a calendar announcement next year that you want on the show or a birthday or anniversary, please pass it to me and I'll pass it along to everyone else. From there, funeral service announcements tonight, sponsored nightly by the Magoffin County Funeral Home, with services to be held at a later date for Darrell Bailey of Richmond, who passed away on the 29th. Preceded in death by his parents, Roy and Vertrice Bailey. He's survived by one child, Phoenix Bailey, and siblings, Donald and Ronald Bailey, Deborah Abram, and Barry Bailey, and a host of relatives and friends. Darrell will be interred at the McCarty Family Cemetery in Salyersville, and again, a memorial service will be held in his honor at a later date. We've also been told of the passing today of Mary C. Barnett Tompkins, 79, of Cincinnati, but formerly of Magoffin County. She passed away on today's date at the Hospice of Cincinnati. The daughter of the late Arlie and Gracie Campbell Barnett. Arrangements incomplete at this time, but to be announced soon by the Magoffin County Funeral Home. Welcome to the best sales, the best service, and the best selection in the viewing area and Eastern Kentucky. It's Conley Tire in Staffordsville, where they have big specials on big name brands every month. And as always, brake jobs, oil changes, computer diagnostics, and 6 months no interest. Conley Tire in Staffordsville and conleytire.net.
Buffalo for me, bonsai for you.
Not a sauce guy.
Famous last words.
Not a napkin guy either.
Try new Famous sauce with Lee's Saucy Sampler. Only at Lee's. Famous for a reason.
As cold and flu season approaches, there's another respiratory illness you should watch for: pneumonia. Like the flu, pneumonia can cause serious health risks and be life-threatening. If you have any questions about how to keep yourself and your loved ones safe and healthy, need over-the-counter relief for any symptoms, or want to keep your immune system at its best, stop by Parkway Pharmacy in Salyersville. SMB is proud to stand with you with what might be your very first and definitely last checking, savings, retirement, even Christmas Club account, along with consumer, auto, mortgage, business loans that you can easily manage from anywhere in the world with safe, secure mobile and online banking that comes from over 120 years of commitment to your financial life and well-being, today, tomorrow, and forever. Salyersville National.
There are buttons to button, snacks to prepare, math problems to help with, and boo-boos to kiss. If you have people who need you, you need life insurance. Talk to a Kentucky Farm Bureau agent about a policy that protects the ones you love. Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. Big on commitment.
I love working in the coal mines, even though it was hard work. But if you suspect you have black lung, you can't work anymore. You'll find out that filing for benefits is hard too. I had friends who give up after years of trying. If it hadn't been for Big Sandy Healthcare, I wouldn't even try myself. If you think you have black lung, call Big Sandy Healthcare and get the help you deserve.
Youth.
Experience.
Modern solutions to modern problems.
Proven solutions to legal problems.
An emerging face in the courtroom.
A known presence in the courtroom.
Together, we are multifaceted.
Together, we will do right by you.
If you are having any legal issues at all, just relax and call Max.
If a car wreck is causing you pain, just pick up the phone and call Donald Wayne.
Number of courthouse cases and notes to pass along this evening, including indictments returned last week by the sitting Magoffin County Grand Jury. Before we go over those, let's go to a number of court cases which have seen final judgments and their conclusion, which began as Magoffin County indictments. We'll begin with the case of Kevin E. Tucker of Barry, coming to a conclusion. That's Barry, Kentucky. He was indicted by the Magoffin County Grand Jury after the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department brought the case for trafficking in a controlled substance, first-degree, first offense, methamphetamine, trafficking in marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. That indictment being returned in May of this year, and in a court appearance just a few days ago, he withdrew his plea of not guilty and entered a guilty plea to count one, an amended count one, of trafficking in a controlled substance, first-degree, first offense, less than 2 grams of methamphetamine. As such, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison on count 1, with counts 2 and 3 dismissed with prejudice. Turning to the case of Michael Williams of Sagersville, who was indicted in May of this year as well. His case has now come to a conclusion after a court proceeding this month. He was originally indicted on trafficking in a controlled substance, first degree, first offense, that for methamphetamine. And this month he withdrew his not guilty plea and pled guilty to that count of trafficking in controlled substance, first degree, first offense. And after consideration, the defendant was sentenced to 5 years in prison, taking into account this and any other previous history. Again, 5 years in prison for the count of trafficking in a controlled substance, first offense, first degree. Anthony Troy Garcia Jr. of Sugar Camp in Sagersville was indicted in November of 2022 after a case brought forth by the Sagersville City Police Department. The indictment for wanton endangerment, first degree, 3 separate counts for incidents related to the firing of a weapon in the Sugar Camp area in the direction of 3 separate individuals. He, in a recent court appearance, changed his plea to guilty to an amended count of attempted wanton endangerment, and as a result was sentenced to 12 months in prison, all of which to be probated for a period of 24 months. That for 1 count, while counts 2 and 3 were dismissed with prejudice. Nicole Hodge of Columbia, Kentucky, was indicted this past July for possession of a controlled substance, first degree, first offense, methamphetamine, after an arrest by the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department in August of 2024. She changed her not guilty plea to guilty on the count of possession of a controlled substance, first degree, first offense. As a result, she was sentenced to 1 year in prison. And that sentence also set to run consecutively to another indictment case out of Adair County. Michael John Burks was indicted in March of this year for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of drug paraphernalia, marijuana, speeding 16 miles per hour over the limit, and an inadequate silencer or muffler on the vehicle he was driving. And he changed his plea to guilty as well on December the 4th, and as such pled guilty to count 1 of a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, and as a result was sentenced to a year of home incarceration, while counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 were dismissed with prejudice. Facing 3 separate indictment cases, Linville Shane Hall as well changed his plea for the first case. He was indicted this past July for trafficking in a controlled substance, first degree, first offense, methamphetamine, after charges brought forth by the Sheriff's Department. For that case, he changed his not guilty to guilty and was sentenced to 5 years in prison, with stipulations saying that 5 years is to run concurrently with 2 other cases. those also being McGoffin County cases. Another which he was indicted in July of this year, this one for events from February of 2023 for trafficking in methamphetamine and being a persistent felony offender in the first, which means he has at least 2 prior felonies on his record. For that case, he changed his not guilty to a guilty plea and was sentenced to 6 years in prison to run concurrently alongside, so to speak, with the before-mentioned case and the third, which was an indictment that was returned in July as well for events from March of 2023 for trafficking in methamphetamine. And for that one as well, he pled guilty to the count and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Again, all 3 of those, the 5, the 6, and the 6-year terms to run concurrently, meaning for a total of 6 years to serve. Now we'll turn to a number of new indictments. These just returned last week on Monday by the current McGoffin County Grand Jury. Again, this most recent round of indictments coming from the McGoffin County Grand Jury coming on December the 22nd, just a couple of days before Christmas. The first naming Jeremy Scott Arnott of Jim Arnott Branch, charged with possession of a controlled substance, first-degree first offense, that being methamphetamine, and possession of drug paraphernalia, after being arrested by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department this past October 6th. Mary E. Gibson indicted another time by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department, this for, again, trafficking in a controlled substance, first-degree second offense for methamphetamine, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Michael P. Gibson of Kelpatton Branch was named in 2 indictments this round. The first for possession of a controlled substance, first-degree first offense methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of a controlled substance. That relates to a case that began on July the 12th of this year. That started by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. And just a little more than a week or so later, on July the 21st, again, arrested for possession of a controlled substance, first-degree first offense methamphetamine, and possession of drug paraphernalia, for which he was also named in a separate indictment by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. Dylan Gamble of Lick Creek Road for aggravated trafficking in a controlled substance due to the significant quantity of fentanyl that was found in his possession, equal to or greater than 28 grams, possession of a controlled substance, first-degree first offense, and possession of drug paraphernalia, that as well brought by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. Danielle Miller Dyer of South River Road, indicted for possession of a controlled substance, first-degree first offense, methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of marijuana. This related to an arrest on December the 10th of 2024 by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. Roger Cheney of Moorhead was named in indictments. This one for trafficking in controlled substance, first-degree first offense, greater or equal to 2 grams of methamphetamine, tampering with physical evidence, criminal littering, possession of drug paraphernalia, and giving a police officer false name or identification. That case brought by the Sheriff's Department as well in McGoffin County. Maria Yates of Buffalo Branch Road in Moorhead was indicted for trafficking in a controlled substance, first-degree first offense, greater or equal to 2 grams of meth, possession of drug paraphernalia, operating a vehicle with an expired license, and being a persistent felony offender in the first degree, meaning she has at least 2 prior felonies on her record. And lastly, for this round of indictments, Brandy Clark of Prestonsburg, indicted for trafficking in a controlled substance, first-degree first offense, greater than 10 dosage units of opiates, and possession of drug paraphernalia. That case, too, brought forth by the McGoffin County Sheriff's Department. Now, with all of that covered, before I say Happy New Year for the very last time on this show for 2025, here is tonight's Licking Valley RACC Outlook. What does your end of 2025 look like? Your beginning of the next, hopefully, very bright new year hold? As far as the weather is concerned, some flurries at the beginning, some 50s on the end. With that in mind, we will welcome in the new year tonight, right around 31 or so, with a little bit of a wind out of the west still, and about a 40% chance of some snow. I think there'll be a few isolated showers out there tonight, not going to add up to a whole lot, but, some flakes and some flurries, I think, are in the cards for us as we say goodbye to 2025, and as we bring in and ring in 2026, Well, we should see the flurries lingering in the morning, as well as the clouds most of the day. I think we're going to see a mostly cloudy first day of the year. 39 for your high and 29 for your low. Just kind of a day. Nothing dramatic, nothing bad. Just kind of a day. Just kind of a New Year's Day. Friday, we're going to see the sun return, and we'll see the 40s make a run up into the upper 40s at around 47 for your Friday. Partly sunny. A nice day for your Friday. If you've got Thursday and Friday off, well, congratulations. I think we're going to take that off here in the studio as well, with some sunshine. Now, there are some showers, but that's not until during the overnight Friday night. So we're talking Friday, 47, close to 50 maybe, and some sunshine. Slight chance of some rain late Friday night and into your Saturday. And I think by Saturday afternoon, it's just going to be cloudy skies for the most part, and maybe topping out at around 41. And then the rain chances are gone, and the 40s and 50s are on the horizon. Sunday, sunny, cooler at 42. And then check out the upward bound trend we have from there as the first week of 2026 starts to crank up. Monday, 52, mostly sunny. 39, 40, maybe for nighttime lows. That's not bad. Tuesday, 56 and partly sunny. Around 40, 41 for nighttime lows. Partly cloudy that night. Wednesday of next week, I think we're in the mid-50s still. Maybe still a lot of sunshine, or at least quite a bit. And by quite a bit, I mean quite a bit more than what we've had. Partly sunny, 39 for the low. A few clouds that night, but all in all, a pretty good forecast to be able to wrap up this year of programming here on Your News Today. Hard to imagine this will be the last show of 2025. And lastly, and again, from the very bottom of my heart and with every fiber in my soul, I say again, Happy New Year, and thank you for being with me this and all those other years since 1998. I really sincerely hope that 2026 is the best year yet for us all. Good night, everyone, and thank you for being a part of the show. And I will see you on Monday.